The plane was a coffin of recycled air, and Caden Harris, 17, felt every eye on him as he wheeled down the narrow aisle of Flight 319, Phoenix to Chicago. His arms, strong from years of navigating a wheelchair, propelled him toward his first-class Seat 3A, a hard-earned gift from his community center for winning a national coding competition. Caden, a black teen with a quick smile and sharper mind, was no stranger to stares. But today they felt heavier, laced with something he couldn't quite name. Prejudice, maybe. Or just the usual curiosity about a kid in a chair. Then it happened, sharp and sudden, like a lightning crack. As Caden settled into his seat, a flight attendant, her badge gleaming Marla T., loomed over him, her lips twisted in a sneer. "You're in the wrong section," she said, voice loud enough to turn heads. "This is first class." Before Caden could respond, she grabbed the armrests of his wheelchair, still stowed beside him, and shoved it hard, jolting him against the seat. Gasps rippled through the cabin. A woman in 4B dropped her phone. A man in a suit froze mid-sip of his coffee. Caden's heart thudded, but his voice stayed steady. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," he said, holding up his boarding pass. Marla didn't look at it. Her eyes, cold as the plane's aluminum hull, locked onto his. "Move, or I'll have security drag you out." The threat hung in the air, venomous. Passengers shifted, some whispering, others recording on their phones. Caden's fingers tightened around his phone, his lifeline. He wasn't just a kid from South Phoenix anymore. He was a coder, a problem solver, and he had one call to make. Caden's. Life hadn't been easy. Born with a rare spinal condition, he'd been in a wheelchair since he was 9. The doctors said he'd never walk, but Caden had taught himself to soar in other ways. At 14, he built his first app, a tool to help disabled kids navigate public spaces. By 16, he was teaching coding to younger kids at the Desert Star Community Center, where his mentor, Dr. Lena Brooks, saw a spark the world couldn't dim. She'd gifted him this trip to Chicago for a tech summit, where he'd pitch his app to investors. "You're going to change lives, Caden," she'd said, pressing a business card into his hand. "And if you ever need me, call." Now, with Marla's hands still hovering near his chair, Caden dialed Dr. Brooks. The line rang once, twice. Marla scoffed, crossing her arms. "Calling Mommy won't help you here." The cabin was a pressure cooker, passengers leaning forward, some murmuring support, others silent but watching. Dr. Brooks answered, her voice calm but commanding. "Caden, what's wrong?" He explained quickly. Marla's shove, her refusal to check his ticket, the threat of security. Dr. Brooks didn't hesitate. "Stay calm. I'm calling now." She hung up, and Caden locked eyes with Marla, who smirked, thinking she'd won. But Caden knew Dr. Brooks wasn't just a mentor. She was a former attorney general with connections that could move mountains. Minutes ticked by, each one heavier than the last. Marla began barking orders to another attendant, demanding Caden's removal. A mother across the aisle, holding a toddler, spoke up. "Check his ticket. This is wrong." A businessman nodded, adding, "You can't treat people like this." Marla ignored them, her confidence unshaken, until the intercom crackled. "Ladies and gentlemen," the captain's voice boomed, "we've been instructed to remain at the gate due to an operational issue. Please stand by." Marla froze, her smirk vanishing. The cabin door opened and 2 figures boarded, an airline supervisor in a crisp blazer and a security officer with a no-nonsense stare. The supervisor's eyes found Marla. "Step aside, Ms. Thompson. We need to speak." Caden's phone buzzed, a text from Dr. Brooks. CEO's office contacted. They're reviewing footage now. Unbeknownst to Marla, the airline's corporate office had received a call from Dr. Brooks, who'd also looped in a civil rights lawyer and a local news outlet. The supervisor reviewed Caden's boarding pass, then watched a passenger's video of the incident, uploaded to X seconds earlier, already gaining traction. The footage was damning. Marla's shove, her words, her refusal to acknowledge Caden's ticket. "Ms. Thompson," the supervisor said, voice like steel, "you're relieved of duty pending investigation. Please exit the aircraft." Marla's face crumpled, but she said nothing, grabbing her bag and storming off as passengers clapped, some cheering. The mother across the aisle reached over, squeezing Caden's hand. "You did good, kid." The plane took off an hour later, a new flight attendant ensuring Caden's comfort. He stared out the window, the desert shrinking below, his mind racing. This wasn't just about him. It was about every kid who'd ever been dismissed, every person told they didn't belong. By the time the plane landed in Chicago, the story had exploded online. Posts on X called Caden a hero, with hashtags like "Why Injustice on Flight 319" trending. News vans waited at O'Hare, cameras flashing as Caden wheeled out, his chin high. At the Tech Summit, Caden's pitch was flawless. Investors lined up, offering funding not just for his app, but for a scholarship program he envisioned for disabled coders. The airline issued a public apology, promising mandatory sensitivity training and a review of their policies. Marla faced suspension and a lawsuit, her career in tatters. Back in Phoenix weeks later, Caden sat at Desert Star, teaching a new batch of kids to code. His phone buzzed with notifications, messages of support, stories from others who'd faced similar treatment. He smiled, thinking of that one call. It hadn't just grounded a plane. It had lifted a movement. Caden Harris wheeled out of the Chicago Tech Summit to a sea of flashing cameras and cheering supporters, his name already a hashtag lighting up X, Justice on Flight 3199. At 17, he'd turned a humiliating encounter on Flight 319, where a flight attendant, Marla, had pushed his wheelchair and tried to eject him from first class, into a viral moment of accountability. One call to his mentor, Dr. Lena Brooks, had grounded the plane and sparked a national conversation. Now, with investors clamoring to fund his accessibility app and a scholarship program for disabled coders, Caden felt unstoppable. But as he boarded his return flight to Phoenix, a chilling message on his phone stopped him cold. "You'll regret this, kid. Watch your back." The anonymous text, sent from a blocked number, buzzed in his mind like a wasp. Was it Marla, the disgraced flight attendant now facing a lawsuit? Or someone else, stirred by the online storm Caden had unleashed? He screenshot the message and forwarded it to Dr. Brooks, who replied instantly. "Stay sharp, I'm sending security to meet you at the airport." The flight home was uneventful, but Caden's eyes darted to every shadow, every stranger's glance. He wasn't just a coder anymore, he was a target. Back in Phoenix, Caden returned to Desert Star Community Center, where kids greeted him like a rock star. "You're famous!" squealed Mia, a 12-year-old who'd been learning Python under his tutelage. But fame came with weight. As Caden taught his class, his phone vibrated again. Another anonymous message. "You think you're safe in that chair?" His stomach twisted. He reported it to the police, who traced the number to a burner phone, a dead end. Dr. Brooks, now a constant presence via video calls, insisted he hire a private investigator. "You've rattled cages, Caden," she said. "Powerful people don't like being exposed." The threats didn't stop Caden's work. His app, Access Now, launched to rave reviews, mapping accessible routes for disabled people across cities. The scholarship program, named Star Coders, funded 10 kids to attend coding boot camps. But the messages kept coming, each more menacing. One included a photo of Caden at Desert Star, taken from across the street. Someone was watching. Then came the shocking break. At a Star Coders event, Caden met Tara, a cybersecurity whiz, and one of his scholarship recipients. Over pizza, he confided in her about the threats. Tara's eyes narrowed. "Give me your phone." In hours, she'd hacked the metadata of the photo, tracing it to an IP address linked to a low-rent office in Tempe. "It's a shell company," Tara said, her fingers flying across her laptop. "But the name on the lease? Marla Thompson's brother, Carl." Caden's blood ran cold. Marla, suspended and humiliated, had a brother with a rap sheet. Petty theft, harassment, nothing major, but enough to suggest he'd help her settle. A score. Tara dug deeper, finding Carl's X account, filled with rants about uppity kids and cryptic posts about fixing wrongs. Caden called Dr. Brooks, who looped in her lawyer and the FBI. Within days, Carl was arrested outside the Tempe office, caught with a drone he'd used to snap photos of Caden. Marla, implicated in the plot, faced new charges for conspiracy. The news hit X like wildfire. Caden Strikes Back trended as users praised his resilience and Tara's brilliance. Caden, though relieved, felt the weight of his new reality. He wasn't just a coder or a kid in a wheelchair. He was a symbol, a voice for those told they didn't belong. At the next Star Coders event, he stood, rolled, before a crowd of young coders, his voice steady. "They tried to scare me silent," he said. "But we're louder than their threats. Code your truth. Build your future. As the crowd roared, Caden glanced at Tara, now his co-founder, and Dr. Brooks, watching via livestream. The threats had stopped, but Caden knew the fight wasn't over. Every line of code he wrote, every kid he taught, was a defiance of those who wanted him small, and he was just getting started. Caden Harris sat in the Desert Star Community Center, hum of cooling fans mixing with the chatter of kids typing code. At 17, he was no longer just a coder or a kid in a wheelchair. He was a movement. His app, Access Now, was transforming how disabled people navigated cities, and his StarCoder scholarship program was sending kids like him to tech boot camps nationwide. The arrest of Carl Thompson, who'd stalked Caden with a drone on behalf of his sister Marla, the disgraced flight attendant, had only fueled Caden's fire. But as he debugged a student's Python script, a notification pinged on his laptop, and the room seemed to tilt. An email, marked urgent, read, "We know who you are, Caden. Drop your app, or we expose what you're hiding." Attached was a grainy photo of Caden's late mother, standing outside a building he'd never seen, holding a file stamped classified. Caden's breath caught. His mother, Aisha, had died when he was 10. A car accident the police called tragic but routine. He'd grown up with her stories, tales of her work as a data analyst, her love for puzzles, her fierce pride in him. But classified files? That wasn't the mom he knew. The email came from an untraceable address, but the threat was clear. Someone wanted Access Now shut down, and they were digging into a past Caden didn't understand. He called Tara, his cybersecurity prodigy and co-founder, who was already on her way to Desert Star. She burst through the door, her laptop under her arm, eyes blazing with focus. "Show me," she said. Caden shared the email, his hands trembling. Tara's fingers danced across her keyboard, tracing the email's origin through layers of encrypted servers. "It's bouncing through proxies," she muttered. "Whoever sent this knows what they're doing." But she found a clue. The photo's metadata pointed to a server linked to Horizon Dynamics, a tech conglomerate rumored to skirt ethics in pursuit of profit. Caden's mind raced. Why would a corporate giant care about his app? Access Now was open source, built to help, not compete. He called Dr. Lena Brooks, his mentor, who listened grimly. "Horizon's been buying up accessibility tech startups," she said. "Your app threatens their monopoly. And that photo of your mom, I knew Aisha. She worked on sensitive projects before you were born. I'll dig into it." As Dr. Brooks investigated, Caden and Tara pushed forward. The StarCoders program was hosting its first national showcase, where scholarship recipients would present their projects to tech leaders. Caden was set to unveil a new Access Now feature, real-time crowdsourced alerts for accessibility barriers. But the threats escalated. A hacked digital billboard outside Desert Star flashed Caden's face with the words, "Fraud exposed." Anonymous ex-posts accused him of stealing his app's code, linking to doctored documents that looked eerily convincing. The community rallied, with correct Caden Strikes Back trending again. But doubt crept into Caden's heart. What if his mom's past held secrets that could unravel everything? The night before the showcase, Tara uncovered a breakthrough. The classified file in the photo was part of a Horizon Dynamics project Aisha had worked on. A predictive algorithm for urban planning that flagged high-risk communities, including Caden's South Phoenix neighborhood, for gentrification. Aisha had quit in protest, leaking data to whistleblowers. Horizon buried the scandal, but now Caden's app, with its focus on equitable access, was exposing their modern schemes. "They're scared," Tara said. "Your app's data could prove they're still targeting vulnerable communities." Caden felt a fire ignite. His mom hadn't just been a data analyst. She'd been a fighter, like him. At the showcase, held in a packed Phoenix Convention Center, Caden took the stage, his wheelchair gleaming under the lights. The crowd hushed as he revealed the truth. Horizon's threats, his mom's legacy, and Access Now's new feature, which now included a tool to map corporate land grabs disguised as urban renewal. He held up his phone, displaying the app's interface. "This isn't just about access," he said. "It's about power. Who gets to move freely? Who gets to live? My mom fought for that. I'm fighting for it now." The audience erupted, cameras flashing. Tara, from the wings, grinned as she live-streamed to X, where all Access Now truth soared. Dr. Brooks, watching from Chicago, had already sent the leaked Horizon files to regulators. By morning, the FBI raided Horizon's local office, seizing servers. The company's CEO issued a panicked apology, but the damage was done. Caden's app downloads spiked, and Starcoders received a flood of donations. Back at Desert Star, Caden mentored his students, his mom's photo, now framed on his desk. The threats had stopped, but he knew the fight was far from over. Horizon was one head of a hydra, and others would rise. But as he watched Mia debug her first game, Caden smiled. He was Aisha's son, Tara's partner, Dr. Brooks's protege, a mole coder, a leader, a force. One call had grounded a plane. One app was grounding empires. Caden Harris woke to the buzz of his phone at 3 a.m., the Desert Star Community Center silent, except for the faint hum of his laptop's cooling fan. His app, Access Now, was now a global phenomenon, mapping accessible routes in over 50 cities. And his Starcoders program was mentoring hundreds of young coders. The takedown of Horizon Dynamics, whose shady urban planning schemes had been exposed by Caden and his team, had cemented his name as a force for change. But as he rubbed sleep from his eyes and checked his phone, a video message from an unknown sender froze his blood. It showed Caden's younger sister, 14-year-old Naya, walking home from school, oblivious to a drone hovering above her. A distorted voice hissed, "Step back, Caden, or she pays the price." Caden's heart slammed against his ribs. Nia, his fierce, funny sister who'd taught herself HTML to help with Access Now's website, was his anchor. The idea of her in danger made his hands shake as he wheeled to his desk, forwarding the video to Tara, his cybersecurity genius, and Dr. Lena Brooks, his mentor. Tara called within minutes, her voice tight. "This isn't amateur. The drone's signal is encrypted, military grade. Whoever's behind this is bigger than Horizon." Dr. Brooks, joining via video call, was grim. "Caden, your app's data is exposing more than you know. I've found links to a global network. Corporations, governments, even NGOs, who profit from controlling urban access. They want you silenced." The revelation hit like a punch. Access Now's crowdsourced data, meant to empower disabled people, was inadvertently mapping power structures, revealing how cities were designed to exclude, not include. Caden's latest feature, which flagged corporate land grabs, had struck a nerve deeper than he'd imagined. But targeting Naya? That was personal. He moved her to stay with Dr. Brooks's family in Chicago, guarded by private security, while he and Tara dug in. At Desert Star, the mood was tense. The kids sensed Caden's strain, though he kept the threats quiet. Mia, his 12-year-old Python prodigy, noticed his distraction. "You okay, Caden?" she asked, her eyes sharp. He forced a smile. "Just coding the future, Mia." But behind the scenes, Tara was relentless, hacking into the drone's signal trail. It led to a shell company in Singapore, tied to a shadowy group called the Nexus Consortium. Dr. Brooks's research confirmed it. Nexus was a coalition of elites, tech moguls, city planners, even corrupt officials, who manipulated urban development, globally, profiting by marginalizing communities like Caden's. The stakes skyrocketed when Nexus struck back. Days before Access Now's global expansion launch, set to integrate with public transit systems in London and Tokyo, a massive data breach hit. Hackers leaked fake Access Now user data, claiming disabled people were scamming cities for resources. X erupted with Tauschorn's Access Now fraud, fueled by bots. Caden's inbox flooded with hate, and sponsors wavered. But Tara, working 18-hour days, traced the breach to a Nexus server. "They're trying to discredit you before the launch," she said. "We need to fight code with code." Caden had an idea, a risky one. He and Tara rallied the Starcoders kids, turning Desert Star into a war room. They built a counter-algorithm, using Access Now's real data to expose Nexus's manipulations, maps showing how their projects displaced low-income and disabled communities, paired with financial trails to offshore accounts. Caden called it Truth Map, a new app feature that would launch alongside Access Now's expansion. But the clock was ticking. Another message arrived. A photo of Nia's favorite park in Chicago, with the words, "We're close." The launch was held virtually, broadcast from Desert Star to thousands worldwide. Caden wheeled onto a makeshift stage, the kids behind him, Tara at his side. His voice was steady, though fear for Nia gnawed at him. "Access Now isn't just an app," he said, eyes locked on the camera. "It's proof that we belong." everywhere. Tonight, we're launching Truth Map, showing who's been keeping us out. He clicked a button, and screens lit up with maps exposing Nexus's schemes. Shady. Deals in London, forced evictions in Tokyo, gentrification in Phoenix. The crowd roared online and in person as Truth Map trended. Tara's work paid off mid-broadcast. She traced the drone's final signal to a Nexus operative in Chicago, who was arrested hours later, confessing to acting under orders. Nia was safe, and Dr. Brooks's legal team filed charges against Nexus's leadership. By dawn, regulators in 3 countries were investigating, and Access Now's user base doubled. The kids at Desert Star cheered as Caden hugged Tara, exhaustion giving way to hope. Weeks later, Caden sat with Nia, back in Phoenix, teaching her to code a new Truth Map feature. The threats had quieted, but Nexus wasn't gone, just wounded. Caden knew the fight was far from over. He looked at his sister, then at his mom's framed photo on his desk. Aisha's legacy wasn't just in him. It was in every line of code, every kid he mentored, every city his app reclaimed. One call had grounded a plane. One app was shaking the world. Caden Harris leaned back in his wheelchair, the glow of his laptop casting shadows across the Desert Star Community Center. It was past midnight, and the center was quiet, save for the soft clicks of his keyboard, as he tweaked Truth Map's latest update. It was now a global lifeline, mapping accessibility in over 100 cities. And Truth Map, its newest feature, had rocked the world by exposing the Nexus Consortium's shady urban development deals. The arrests in Chicago, London, and Tokyo had sent shockwaves, and Truth Map was a rallying cry on X. Caden, at 17, was a hero to millions. But as he sipped his energy drink, a direct message pinged on his X account, and the words sliced through, his calm like a blade. "You trusted the wrong people, Caden. Check your servers. Now." The sender. A handle he recognized. Mia code is 12, the account of his 12-year-old protege. Mia.Caden's stomach dropped. Mia, the Python whiz who'd been with him since Star Coders began, was like a little sister. She'd been at the Truth Map launch, cheering loudest when Nexus's schemes went viral. Why would she send this? His fingers flew to Access Now's server logs, heart pounding. Within minutes, he found it. A backdoor in the code, siphoning user data to an offshore server. The breach was subtle, professional, and fresh, planted after the Nexus takedown. Someone on his team had betrayed him. He called Tara, his cybersecurity partner, who was crashing at a friend's place after a late-night hackathon. "Caden, what's up?" she asked, voice groggy. He sent her the logs and Mia's message. Tara's tone sharpened. "This is bad. The backdoor's routing data to a server in Dubai, linked to a Nexus shell company. Someone's playing us." Caden's mind raced. Mia? No way. She was a kid, loyal to the core. But the message came from her account. He texted Dr. Lena Brooks, his mentor, who was in D.C. lobbying for accessibility laws. "I'm on it," she replied. "Don't confront anyone yet. We need proof." Morning brought chaos. Caden arrived at Desert Star to find Mia missing from the coding class she never skipped. Her mom, frantic, said Mia hadn't come home last night. Caden's gut twisted. Had Mia sent the warning, or was she in trouble? Tara, now at the center, hacked into Mia's X account and found it compromised, accessed from an IP address in Phoenix. "Someone's using her name to mess with us," Tara said, eyes blazing. "But the back door, it's got traces of Mia's coding style. Either she's involved or someone's framing her." The stakes were brutal. Access Now's user data, millions of disabled people's locations, needs, and stories, was at risk. If Nexus leaked it, the backlash would destroy Caden's credibility and endanger lives. He and Tara worked round the clock, patching the back door while tracking Mia. Dr. Brooks, pulling strings, got the FBI to trace the Dubai server, but they needed time. Then, a break. Tara found a hidden file in the server logs, encrypted with Mia's signature key. It was a video, time-stamped last night. Mia's face appeared, pale and scared, in a dimly lit room. "Caden, they made me," she whispered. "They said they'd hurt my mom if I didn't plant the code. I'm at the old warehouse on 7th, please." The video cut off. Caden's blood ran cold. The warehouse was a derelict site in South Phoenix, tied to Nexus's gentrification schemes. He called the police, but Tara stopped him from rushing out. "It's a trap," she said. "They want you there." Instead, she pinged the location to the FBI, who were already closing in on Nexus's local operatives. Caden, refusing to sit idle, rallied the Starcoder's kids. "We're not fighters," he told them, "but we're coders. Let's hit Nexus where it hurts." They launched a digital counterattack, flooding Nexus's servers with dummy data to slow their operations, while Tara live-streamed the effort on X, rallying global support with Soundchapter Save Mia. The FBI raided the warehouse that night, finding Mia unharmed, but shaken, guarded by a Nexus hired hand who confessed to coercing her. The mastermind? A Nexus executive named Victor Klein, who'd evaded the earlier arrests. He'd targeted Mia, knowing her skill and closeness to Caden made her the perfect pawn. Klein was arrested, and Mia, back at Desert Star, hugged Caden, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said. He shook his head. "You warned me. Your family." The fallout was seismic. Access Now's servers were secured, and TruthMap's data led to more Nexus arrests worldwide. X lit up with Mia Code's hero, celebrating her courage. Caden, Tara, and Mia worked together on a new app feature, a decentralized data shield, ensuring no one could exploit their users again. Dr. Brooks, back in Phoenix, secured funding to expand Starcoders globally, with Mia as its youngest mentor. Caden sat with Nia and Mia one evening, coding under Desert Star's flickering lights. His mom's photo watched over them, a reminder of the fight in his blood. Nexus was battered, but shadows lingered. Caden knew bigger battles loomed, but with his team, his family, he was ready. One call had grounded a plane. One app was rewriting the world. Caden Harris sat in the Desert Star Community Center, a hum of late-night coding sessions filling the air. At 17, he was a global figure. His app, Access Now, mapped accessibility for millions, and TruthMap had exposed the Nexus Consortium's urban control schemes, leading to arrests across continents. Mia's rescue from a Nexus operative, after being coerced into planting a backdoor in their servers, had only strengthened Caden's resolve. With Tara's cybersecurity prowess and Dr. Lena Brooks's legal muscle, his team was unstoppable. But as he mentored Nia and Mia on a new TruthMap feature under the flickering lights, a breaking news alert flashed on his phone, and the world seemed to stop. Global internet outage hits Access Now servers. Data wiped, users stranded. The headline was paired with a chilling claim on X. A group called VoidNet took credit, posting a single line. "Caden Harris, your fight ends now." Caden's pulse raced. VoidNet was a ghost in the tech world, a hacker collective rumored to work for hire, untouchable by law. The outage wasn't just a glitch, it was a surgical strike. Access Now's servers, even with their new decentralized shield, were offline, leaving disabled users worldwide without critical navigation tools. Hospitals reported delays, transit systems faltered, and X erupted with Access Now down, some blaming Caden for overreaching. He wheeled to his laptop, Tara already on a video call, her face grim. "They hit us with a quantum ransomware," she said. "It's rewriting our backups faster than we can restore. And there's something else, a signature in the code. It's personal." Tara shared her screen, revealing a line buried in the ransomware. "For Aisha." Caden's breath caught. His mother, Aisha, had been a whistleblower against Horizon Dynamics, Nexus's predecessor before her death in a routine car accident. Was VoidNet connected to her past? Dr. Brooks, joining from DC, confirmed his fears. "I dug into Aisha's files," she said. "She wasn't just a data analyst, she was part of a covert hacktivist group, Code Dawn, that fought corporate overreach. VoidNet might be their dark successor, settling old scores. The stakes were catastrophic. Without Access Now, millions were stranded, and Caden's credibility hung by a thread. Worse, Naya, his 14-year-old sister, was shaken. Her trust in their safety fraying after Mia's kidnapping. Caden called an emergency meeting at Desert Star, rallying the Starcoders kids. Mia, now fiercely determined, included. "We're not just coders," Caden told them. "We're fighters. Let's rebuild." But a new message from VoidNet arrived. This time on Caden's personal email. "Meet us in Berlin, alone or Access. Now stays dark. 48 hours. A location followed, an abandoned server farm outside the city. Tara was adamant. "It's a trap, Caden. You can't go." But Caden saw no choice. If I don't, they'll keep us offline. People are suffering. Dr. Brooks arranged private security and a flight, pulling strings with international allies. In Berlin, Caden wheeled into the desolate server farm, the air thick with dust and the hum of old machines. A figure emerged, a woman, mid-30s, with a scar across her cheek. "I'm Vesper," she said, her voice cold. "Code Dawn trained your mother. She betrayed us, and now you're in our way." Caden's heart pounded, but he held her gaze. "My mom fought for people, not power. If you're Code Dawn's legacy, you're the betrayal." Vesper laughed, but her eyes flickered. She revealed VoidNet's plan. They'd hijacked Access Now to build a shadow network, controlling global accessibility data to manipulate cities for profit. But some in VoidNet, Vesper admitted, admired Caden's fight. "Join us, or lose everything," she said. Caden refused. Instead, he activated a hidden signal Terra had planted in his phone, broadcasting their talk to X. Starcoders, watching live, unleashed a counter-hack, led by Mia. They flooded VoidNet's servers with a virus disguised as Access Now data, forcing a reboot. Terra, from Phoenix, restored the servers, bringing Access Now back online mid-broadcast. X exploded with Caden rises, and users worldwide cheered as their app flickered to life. Vesper vanished as German police swarmed the farm, tipped off by Dr. Brooks. Caden returned to Phoenix a hero, but shaken. Vesper's words about his mother lingered. Was there more to Aisha's story? Yet Desert Star, he sat with Naya, Mia, and the Starcoders kids, coding a new safeguard for Access Now. A blockchain-based backup, unhackable even by VoidNet. Dr. Brooks, back in town, handed him a USB drive. "Your mom's last project," she said. "She wanted a world where no one's locked out. You're her legacy." As Caden plugged in the drive, revealing Aisha's early accessibility algorithms, he felt her fire in his veins. VoidNet was still out there, but so was he, backed by his team, his community, his truth. One call had grounded a plane. One app was reshaping the future. Caden Harris sat in the Desert Star Community Center, the faint glow of his laptop illuminating. His mother's USB drive, now plugged into his system. At 17, he was a global icon. Access Now was a lifeline for millions of disabled people, and TruthMap had exposed the Nexus Consortium and crippled VoidNet's attempt to hijack his app. The Berlin showdown with Vesper, who claimed ties to his mother's hacktivist past in Code Dawn, had left Caden shaken but resolute. His team, Tara, Mia, Naya, and Dr. Lena Brooks, had turned Desert Star into a fortress of code and courage. But as Caden opened Aisha's files, expecting algorithms, a hidden audio recording began to play, and his mother's voice filled the room. "Caden, if you're hearing this, you've found my truth. They're coming for you. Don't trust the Alliance." The recording cut off, replaced by a single line of text on his screen. "Your mother's secrets are ours. Surrender Access Now or we release them." Caden's heart thudded. The Alliance? He'd never heard of it. The message, unsigned but encrypted with VoidNet's signature, came with a timer. 24 hours. Terra, crashing on a cot nearby, jolted awake. "What's that?" Caden played the recording again, his hands trembling. Terra's eyes widened. "This is next level. They're not just after the app. They're after your mom's legacy." Dr. Brooks, reached via video call, went pale. The Alliance was a myth in Aisha's time. A secret coalition of governments and tech giants controlling global data flows. If they're real, and VoidNet's working for them, we're in deeper than we thought. The stakes were existential. Aisha's files revealed her final project. A blueprint for a decentralized internet, free from corporate or government control, designed to empower communities like Caden's. Access Now, built on her early algorithms, was unintentionally fulfilling her vision, threatening the Alliance's grip on data. But the files also hinted at something darker. Aisha had uncovered a list of Alliance operatives, including a mole in Code Dawn, who'd sabotaged her work. Her accident might not have been an accident at all. Caden's phone buzzed with a new threat, a doctored video, already spreading on X, showing Aisha allegedly selling data to foreign entities. Aisha Trader trended, and Access Now's user base wavered as trolls painted Caden as her heir in deceit. Nia, his 14-year-old sister, saw the posts and broke down. "Is this true about Mom?" she asked, eyes wet. Caden hugged her, his resolve hardening. It's a lie. We'll prove it. Tara and Mia, now 13 and fiercer than ever, led the Starcoders kids in a counter-offensive. They analyzed the video, finding digital artifacts proving it was AI-generated. Tara traced the source to a server in Seoul, linked to an Alliance front company. But time was running out. The Alliance demanded Caden shut down Access Now and hand over Aisha's files, or they'd leak more fakes, destroying his family's name and endangering users worldwide. A new message pinpointed a meeting in Hong Kong. Come alone, or Nia's next. Caden refused to be cowed. With Dr. Brooks pulling strings, he flew to Hong Kong, backed by Tara's remote hacks and Mia's real-time X updates to keep the world watching. The meeting was set in a neon-lit skyscraper, its top floor a maze of glass and steel. Caden wheeled in, flanked by discreet security, to face a man in a tailored suit. Chen, an Alliance envoy. Your mother was a problem, Chen said, his smile sharp. You're worse. Join us, or we bury you both. He slid a tablet across, showing a live feed of Naya's school in Phoenix, too close for comfort. Caden's voice was steel. My mom built for freedom. I'm finishing her work. He activated a signal Tara had coded, streaming their talk to X via a hidden earpiece. Mia and the Starcoders, back at Desert Star, unleashed Aisha's blueprint, a viral code packet that began decentralizing Access Now's servers worldwide, untouchable by the Alliance. The Hong Kong feed lit up X with Aisha's legacy, and users globally joined the effort, hosting nodes on their own devices. Chen's face twisted as his tablet glitched, overwhelmed by the decentralized surge. Hong Kong police, tipped by Dr. Brooks's allies, stormed the building, arresting Chen. The Alliance's Seoul server was seized, exposing their operatives' names, including a U.S. senator and a tech CEO. Back in Phoenix, Caden reunited with Naya, safe but shaken, and Mia, who'd become a global coding star. They worked late, integrating Aisha's blueprint into Access Now, ensuring no one could control it again. Dr. Brooks, now advising the UN on digital rights, secured protection for Caden's team. Under Desert Star's lights, Caden watched Naya and Mia code, Aisha's photo on his desk. The Alliance was wounded, but shadows lingered. Her recording echoed in his mind. Don't trust the Alliance. He wouldn't. One call had grounded a plane. One app was freeing the world. Caden Harris wheeled through the Desert Star Community Center, the morning sun filtering through dusty windows, casting golden streaks across the room where his journey began. At 18, he was a global force. Access Now powered millions across 200 cities. And TruthMap had dismantled the Nexus Consortium and crippled the Alliance, a shadowy coalition of tech giants and governments. The Hong Kong raid, where Caden's team broadcast their defiance and unleashed Aisha's decentralized internet blueprint, had sparked a global movement. Aisha's legacy trended as communities worldwide hosted Access Now nodes, making the app untouchable. But as Caden prepared for a UN summit to present his vision for a free digital future, a cryptic email landed in his inbox, and its words stopped him cold. Aisha's final secret is buried in Phoenix. Find it, or it finds you. The sender was anonymous, but the signature was Code Dawn's old emblem, a phoenix rising. Caden's pulse quickened. His mother's voice from the USB drive's recording echoed in his mind. Don't trust the Alliance. Had she left something else? He shared the email with Tara, his cybersecurity genius, and Dr. Lena Brooks, his mentor, now a UN advisor. Tara, scanning the email's metadata, frowned. It's local. Sent from a public library in South Phoenix. No Alliance or VoidNet markers. This feels personal. Dr. Brooks, on a video call from New York, was cautious. Aisha always had contingencies. If she hid something, it's big. But be careful, Caden. This could be a lure. Nia, his 14-year-old sister, and Mia, now 13 and a coding legend after her rescue from Nexus, overheard. We're going, Nia said, her voice firm. Mom left this for us. Caden nodded, trusting their instincts. The Starcoders kids, ever loyal, insisted on helping, turning Desert Star into a command center. Tara traced the library's IP to a specific terminal, last used by an unknown woman who'd left a physical note. Aisha's locker, 7th Street Station. Key in the code. No key was mentioned, but Caden remembered Aisha's favorite number sequence. 0719, his birthday. The 7th Street station was a crumbling transit hub, part of Nexus's old gentrification zone. Caden, Tara, Naya, and Mia arrived at dusk, the air heavy with the scent of dust and diesel. Locker's 0719 was rusted, but intact. Caden entered the code, and the door creaked open, revealing a small metal box. Inside was a microchip and a handwritten note in Aisha's script. Caden, Naya, this is Code Dawn's endgame. The chip holds a virus to dismantle the Alliance's global surveillance. Activate it, and you free the world. I love you. Tara's eyes widened as she scanned the chip. This is a kill switch, designed to fry any system tied to the Alliance's data network. It's untraceable, unstoppable. But there was a catch. Activating it would expose Caden's location to any remaining Alliance operatives. Mia, checking X, found whispers of a new Alliance faction regrouping in Phoenix, led by a figure known only as the Architect. Caden's hands tightened on his wheelchair. Mom trusted me to finish this. We do it together. The team returned to Desert Star, where the Star Coders kids worked feverishly. Tara and Mia coded a delivery system, embedding the virus in a fake Access Now update to trick Alliance servers into downloading it. Naya, now a skilled coder, built a decoy signal to mask Caden's location. As they prepared to launch, a final threat arrived, a live feed showing armed drones circling Desert Star. The Architect's voice crackled through. Surrender the chip, or this ends now. Caden didn't flinch. He nodded to Tara, who hit the execute key. The virus surged through the Alliance's network, shutting down their surveillance hubs in seconds. X lit up with Yajar Code Dawn rises as global users reported data breaches halting. Cameras offline, trackers dead. The drones outside Desert Star sputtered and crashed, their systems fried. Dr. Brooks, monitoring from the UN, confirmed the Architect's arrest by Interpol. Unmasked as a rogue ex-Code Dawn member Aisha had once trusted. The aftermath was electric. Access Now became the backbone of a new, decentralized internet, powered by Aisha's vision. Star Coders expanded, with Nia and Mia leading chapters in Chicago and Tokyo. Caden, at the UN summit, presented the chip's impact, earning a standing ovation. "This isn't my victory," he said, voice steady. "It's my mom's, my team's, and every person who fought to be seen." Aisha's legacy became a global pledge for digital freedom. Back at Desert Star, Caden sat with Nia, Mia, and Tara, coding under the familiar lights. Aisha's photo stood framed, her note beside it. The Alliance was gone, VoidNet silenced, Code Dawn's mission complete. Caden looked at his team, his family, and smiled. One call had grounded a plane. One chip had freed the world. And Caden, Harris, the kid in the wheelchair from South Phoenix, had built a legacy that would never be locked out. The end.